I have some brand new Star Trek fan fiction. Please subscribe at the end. Captain's Log 3454.8. Supplemental. The Enterprise is on a routine mission to resupply a Federation colony on the third moon of Randor when we intercepted an unknown coded transmission from an unidentifiable source. We are now at a yellow alert and are attempting to decode whatever messages are being sent. The doors to the turbolift opened and Uhura, totally nude, stepped through and walked to the front of the bridge where she stood in front of the main viewing screen. She raised her arms to address the bridge crew and stated, "I am here for Captain Kirk. I am destined to carry his child," she announced. "What the hell?" Sulu asked as he turned to face Kirk, who was sitting behind him. Kirk stood up and addressed Uhura. "What are you doing? Put some clothes on. This is not a strip club." Sulu asked, "Do you want me to do something, sir?" "Call security and tell them to bring a blanket," Kirk replied. Uhura took a few steps towards Kirk. "You don't need to call security, Captain. I am no threat to you or anyone here on the bridge. I am here to offer myself and my body to you for your pleasure." Just then, the turbolift doors opened and Spock entered, holding a bowl of plomeek soup. He shouted, "I don't want your plomeek soup," and threw it towards the front of the bridge, splattering Kirk, Sulu, and Chekhov, who were sitting in their helm stations. Kirk turned to Spock and yelled, "What are you doing?" as he wiped the soup out of the back of his hair. "Have you gone insane?" Scott stepped over to the communication station where Uhura usually monitored messages and alerted Kirk. The computer had deciphered part of the unknown intercepted message. "Tell security we have an issue with Spock." "And what do the messages say?" Kirk asked. "You don't need to hear the message," an unfamiliar voice called out from the science station. "I have a new message for you that you will find more interesting." The bridge crew turned to face this unknown humanoid being standing where Spock usually stood. "Who are you, and what message do you have for me?" Kirk asked. "My name is Doran, and I am from a planet you have yet to discover," the alien replied. "The message was not intended for you, but since you have discovered our existence, or at least you soon will, we decided to make contact first." "Does your presence have anything to do with the strange behaviors of my crew?" Kirk asked. "We have everything to do with what has occurred," Doran replied. "Would you mind explaining why my communications officer is standing naked, offering her body to me, and why my science officer is throwing soup across the bridge?" "Yes, Captain, I will explain," Doran replied. "We are from your future, 355 years into your future, and we have come to collect." "Collect what?" Kirk asked. "Your offspring," Doran replied. "In our time, your descendant will have more value than you can imagine." "You want to take my son?" Kirk asked. "Son, daughter, does not matter to us. But we need an infant, and your son is too old for the journey back." "I don't have an infant," Kirk stated, as fact. Sulu spoke up. "I think I know why Uhura is offering her body to you, Captain." Kirk looked to Uhura and back to Doran. "I don't know much about your race, but I don't think you know how we humans work. We aren't cattle. You can't just breed us with a whim. We are an intelligent race, obviously more intelligent than yours. And what about Spock? Why is he behaving like a lunatic?" "I don't understand the Vulcan's reaction," Doran replied, "but I'm sure it has something to do with our presence. If I were you, I'd put him in chains and lock him down before he becomes more aggressive. Soup is one thing, but murder is quite different." Kirk looked over to Spock, who was hunched over, holding his head. "Are you all right, Spock?" Kirk asked. "I am not all right," Spock replied, with blood dripping from his mouth and nose onto the bridge. "Call McCoy and get Spock to sickbay," Kirk barked. "Yes, sir," Sulu replied, pressing buttons on his console. "Why do you need my offspring so badly?" Kirk asked the alien. In 20 years, you will lead an uprising that will be the cause of the death of millions of innocent beings on the planet Temple. You will be charged with war crimes and executed as the only disgraced Starfleet captain in history. We need your offspring for our museum of crime to be put on display as the only living descendant of the infamous death Captain Kirk. I don't believe you for a minute. But if you are from the future, why not stop me from what I'm accused of and save millions of innocent lives? You could kill me now, and none of your accusations would come true, Kirk replied. We are not in the business of changing history. We are in the entertainment business, and your offspring will make us rich beyond imagination. Now we need to get on with the breeding process so we can be on our way, Doran replied. Kirk pulled his phaser and shot Uhura dead. Her nude body flipped over the rail and fell to the bridge floor below. Kirk spun back and aimed his phaser at Doran and said, "Now what?" Doran grinned and raised his arms as if defeated. We are not stupid, Captain. We will always have a backup plan. Just then, the turbolift doors opened and Janice Rand stepped through, nude and ready to breed. Right there, next to my cassowary bird, which I painted that, is a link to my playlist with all my fan fiction on it. Click on that and go through. Ding, 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 ding. I have like 25 of them now, and they're all pretty good. Just put them on your big screen TV set. I wrote all these originally. They're all my own stuff. They're all my own imagination. So I do appreciate you being here and being a part of it. And please, if you can, subscribe.